Churchill made. Its wings lacked sweep, and its lines were more graceful, less predatory. From the reports Atvar had read, it didn't perform quite as well as the Deutsch killer craft either. But it was a quantum leap better than anything the British had put into the air before. Fleet Lord and Ship Lord stared glumly at the hologram. The trouble with the natives of Toseb 3 was that they were, by the race's standards, insanely inventive. The social scientists attached to the fleet were still trying to figure out how the Big Uglies had gone from barbarism to a full-grown industrial civilization in the blink of an historical eye. Their solutions, or rather conjectives, had yet to satisfy Atvar. Part of the answer, he suspected, lay in the squabbling multiplicity of empires that divided up Toseb 3's meager land surface. Some of them weren't even empires in the strict sense of the word. The regime of the SSSR, for instance, openly boasted of liquidating its former ruling dynasty. The idea of empiricide was enough to make Atvar queasy. Empires and non-empires had competed fiercely among themselves. They'd been fighting a planet-wide war when the race arrived. Doctrine from earlier conquests said the race ought to have been able to take advantage of their factionalism, play off one side against another. The tactic had worked now and again, but not as well, and not as often as doctrine suggested it would. Atvar sighed and told Kirel, "Before I came to Toseb 3, I was like any sensible male. I was sure doctrine held all the answers. Follow it, and you'd obtain the results it predicted. The males who designed our doctrines should have seen this world first. It would have broadened their horizons."
"This is truth, exalted Fleet Lord," the Ship Lord said. "One thing Toseb 3 has taught us is the difference between precept and experience."
"Yes, well put," Atvar said. The last world conquest the race had undertaken lay thousands of years in the past. The Fleet Lord had pored over the manuals of what had worked then, and in the race's previous victory, even more thousands of years before that. But no one having had any practice using what was in the manuals. The Tosevites, by contrast, conquered one another and dickered with one another all the time. They made deception and deceit into an art, and were perfectly willing to educate the race as to their use. Atvar had learned the hard way how much, or rather how little, Big Ugly promises were worth. "The other trouble is, they make war the same way they conduct the rest of their dealings with us. They cheat," Atvar grumbled.
"Truth again, exalted Fleet Lord,"
Kirel said. The Fleet Lord knew it was the truth. Machine against machine, the Big Uglies could not match the race. One land cruiser Atvar commanded, for instance, was worth anywhere between 10 and 30 of its Tosebite opponents. The Big Uglies fought back with everything from mine-carrying animals trained to run under land cruiser tracks to set off their explosives, to attacks that concentrated so many of their inferior weapons against the race's thin-stretched resources that they achieved breakthrough in spite of lower technology. Kirel might have plucked that thought from Atvar's head.
"Will we resume our assault on the city by the lake in the northern section of the smaller continental mass? Chicago, the local name is."
"Not immediately," Atvar answered, trying to keep from his voice all the frustration he felt at the failure. Taking advantage of Toseb 3's truly abominable winter weather, the Americans had broken through the flanks of the assault force, cut off the lead element, and wrecked most of it. It was the worst and most expensive embarrassment the race had suffered on Toseb 3.
"We do not enjoy as many resources as we would like,"
Kirel observed. Now Atvar had to say, "Truth." The race was careful and thorough. The weapons they'd brought from home would have conquered 100 times over the Toseb 3 they thought they would find, very possibly without losing a male. But on the industrialized planet they discovered, they'd taken major losses. They'd inflicted far worse, but the Big Ugly's factories